What is going on, folks? Insider Castile back with another special midweek YouTube video drop here. We are going to be looking at rest of season power rankings. That's right, folks. In this format, in this world of Dynasty, we are looking at big picture, long-term values here most of the time. But for this week, this video, what I want to look at with you guys is a rest of season who has the most, right? There is still a trophy on the line. People are still competing for championships here. And what matters is the here and now for your assets. That we're going to take into a proprietary algorithm to decide who has the best rest of season teams and rank those in a power rankings here on the Castile YouTube Insider channel. Proprietary, we're going to take a look. So here it is, folks. The week 3 rest of season NSTL power rankings coming to you, recorded, Insider Castile. Let's jump into it. Let's get into it right now. All right. Coming into it first and foremost, we are looking at our 12th place team. Our 12th place team is going to be Midnight Cheese with General Manager Travis Allen Arnois at the helm. That's right, folks. We're going to be taking a look at this 12th ranked team. They are a future asset loaded team. Draft capital and young prospects. That is what they've gone after. They are not competing for a championship this year. I would agree. The algorithm agrees with us. And we are going to take a look at our team in the league. That's right. Midnight Cheese. Here's the problem, folks, and we're going to notice this. I'll comment on it later. When you have quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young, you are going to have major issues with your points you're putting up on the board and competing week to week when they are going to struggle. They're going to struggle, and you have people losing their positions later on in this season when you're looking at a rest of season power ranking and value. You have people that are going to lose out snaps like Ramondre Stevenson. Khalil Shakir just put up 2 points when his team won by 30. That's the problem we have, folks. You like multiple assets right there. Hunter is a gadget player so far. He hasn't proven to be much else, and therefore we only have Keenan, Javonte, and Kyron, who's losing goal line carries to Blake Corum at this point. You're going to be a team that's going to struggle to win games in the current atmosphere against all these other teams that have built up more loaded teams. That is how you end up 12th on the power rankings. And in the same similar matchup, we're going to move on now to our next team, number 11 in the rest of season power rankings. It is going to be Chuck and Knuckles, Midnight Cheese's opponent for week 3. That's right, folks. General managed by none other than Seth, the big man Rosie. The preseason algorithm said he was last. The proprietary algorithm says he is second to last. No matter what has happened in these previous week and putting up the amount of points he did, it has not seemed to sway the opinions of the pundits, folks. And it hasn't swayed my opinions yet. We'll take a look at it, though. We're taking a look. Part of it is the inconsistency of his players. He has players that can be top-end talent. Kyler Murray can put up 20-plus points week to week. Kenneth Walker can put up 20-plus points week to week. But when you're losing out snaps in a Kenneth Walker scenario to Charbonnet rest of season, when Kyler Murray is one of the more inconsistent quarterbacks we've ever seen in the NFL, and when your offense is reliant on every single Detroit Lion known to man, you're going to struggle. Juwan Jennings is a great look. Cole Kmet is a great look. Other than that, we have Tua. And again, here's the problem, folks. Just like our last place team, what we're seeing with these bottom-ranked teams is their quarterback rooms do not cut it in a Superflex league. The quarterbacks do not cut it in a Superflex league. And when your quarterbacks don't cut it and you're losing out all these points to everybody that has startable and valid quarterbacks, you're going to run into issues, more consistent issues, and that inconsistency will be more volatile. That is the problem we're exploring here, and why I think some of these teams are ranking so low. If they could rectify their quarterback rooms, I think these teams would be very different. Hard to do that without blowing up the rest of your team, though, to get value out of the quarterback position in a Superflex league. And that's why you sit number 11 in the rest of season rankings as a Chuck and Knuckles fan. Moving forward, number 10, we are going to explore the next team. That is Jerkin Goff with a Chubb. General managed by none other than Ryan Ham Jr., as I like to call them here on the Insiders channel. Looking at his team, again, the QB talent is part of the issue. Looking at his team, we are starting Stroud week to week, and he has regressed season over season since his rookie deal started. He is looking like he may lose out after his rookie contract is up. he continually gets worse, and when you have to start somebody that you cannot consistently rely on to put up points, you're gonna have a hard season. We're relying on a Nick Chubb moving forward. It can lose reps to Woody Marks. We're relying on Tyreek Hill, who could be traded and has had chemistry issues with his team. We're relying on Hawkinson, who does not have a quarterback that's ready throwing to him, in an offense that can't protect their quarterback to even give him time to throw it to the tight end. He's had multiple drops this year. Hawkinson is not looking like the tight end. We do have Ibuka and Odunze. That is the silver lining in why our team actually looks good in future value. We look good as a future value team. Genti, Ibuka, Odunze, Kroski, Mara. That is just an outstanding base to build from that is not going to be ready yet. When you have that much young talent that has not been there, has not done that, folks, you are not ready to win a championship this year, but that is how you move yourself up from the bottom 2 and up into this 10th spot, and you're not sitting in last place in the rest of season rankings when you have big wins like that. And Jared Goff is going to be a steady presence week to week. He will have his stinkers, but more often than not, he's going to be putting up a steady 15 to 25 points for you. Moving on to our 9th place team, that is going to be none other than Hanging with Hernandez. General managed by Evan Voschel, the Notre Dame fan. We are sitting at 9th in the rest of season power rankings. A lot of that is going to be designed with Puka, folks. Puka is going to be the main contributor to why this is what we're looking at here. We are taking a look at his team. He's got Jaden Daniels, great young talent and quarterback set for the future. Tyrone Tracy just this previous week lost snaps and reps and became a passing down only back due to Scadaboo's emergence on the field in that game. DeAndre Swift is what Swift has always been. Swift has always been a dude who's going to put up 9 to 12 points for you consistently, sometimes 6, sometimes 18. And it's all dependent on his touchdown. If he's not getting those touchdowns, he is not going to be an effective back for you that's going to win you a fantasy football championship. But anyways, like I said, we do have Nakua, and Pickens looked even better this week against the Giants than he did in the previous week. That, folks, is going to give us some leeway to be somewhat competitive, along with Jacoby Myers being the wide receiver 1 in Vegas, and it's not close. There is not a receiver that compares to Jacoby Myers. Freiermuth and Trey Benson are going to be inconsistent plays, and we are having to start Tyrod Taylor due to our quarterback Justin Fields going down with a concussion. But we do have Fields, who is capable of putting up 30 points and has a ton of rushing upside in a Superflex league. Again, this is a better quarterback room, a far better quarterback room than what we've seen from the previous 3 teams. I think that alone is enough to push this team up into that next tier, right? Into that tier that could conceivably mistake their way into a playoff berth. That's how you kind of end up a team like this. And he's playing his opponent right now is Ward of the Rings, our number 8 team in the power rankings. Ward of the Rings, they have moved on from Jefferson, as we saw last week. They have brought in younger assets and future assets. It might have brought them down the rest of season power rankings, but they're willing to take that hit and take a risk and hopefully still make the playoffs and probably make a run if they can. They're hoping for that. Again, what we're going to see here is a quarterback room that is shaky. We're starting Bo Nix and Geno Smith. They have both shown that they can put up single-digit numbers. That's a problem. That is a problem when you have a quarterback room and you don't really have anybody else to start. When you have McCaffrey and Achane, you are going to be fine. We transitioned from Jefferson to Moore to bring in future assets and picks for later on. And Tucker Kraft looks outstanding, and we have consistent number 1 starters in Pollard and Ridley. Is this enough to make the playoffs? I don't think so, but it's enough to possibly make the playoffs. It is enough to not give up hope and give up on the season. If something were to go right, if some of these players start booming and outscore their projections, this is a team that could conceivably slip in, and anything can happen once you're in the playoffs. Do I believe that's going to happen with this team similarly to our previous 5 teams or teams? No, I do not believe, in essence, that this is possible to happen for this team. These 2 teams, the last 2 teams we just reviewed, will not be making the playoffs. You have my certified Insider Castillo stamp of approval, and that's why those are where they sit in the power rankings. And moving forward, we are now with our number 7 team, and that is going to be the Buffalo Bills. And frankly, folks, you want to know why he's number 7? It's not because the team has a ton of depth. It's not because we have a ton of nuclear assets or even just a broad range of good assets. No, what we're looking at here with the Buffalo Bills, general managed by Trevor himself, we are looking at the simple fact of this, folks, is what Josh Allen and James Cook do for it. This is what having these two on your squad does for a team. It is enough to single-handedly pull your way from the dredges and into the bubble. You are going to be a bubble team, and when you're a bubble team and you have Josh Allen, that is a good start. We're starting off 1-1 on the season, and let's take a look at our team here. Like I said, Josh Allen, James Cook, by themselves lead you to something unconceivable when it comes to points on a season. Cook has not regressed. He's still scoring touchdowns, and Josh Allen is probably the number 1 or 2 fantasy asset in all of fantasy football at this time. He's a top 5 point scorer in the entirety of the NSTL's history. Alvin Kamara gives you such a solid base, as does DK Metcalf being the only wide receiver option there for Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. The problem comes when you rely on Olave in the worst offense in the league, when you have to rely on 2 other Buffalo Bills to score, not just Cook and Allen. You have to rely on them sharing the ball with other people. And you have to rely on ETN not losing his job and continuing to show a form he has not shown over the previous 2 seasons. Jordan Love is a solid 2 QB option. That, folks, again, we see this is by far one of the better QB rooms we have already reviewed. By far, bar none, it is the top of the list of the QB rooms we just went over. That plays such a pinnacle role in a Superflex league. I continue to say it. It continues to come out of my mouth, and I can't say it enough. It is going to play such a pivotal role moving forward. Most teams should be going out and trying to find quarterbacks that hold some sort of Superflex value and can offer you a minimum threshold of points of double digits week to week. That's what you need. And that's what this team has. And that securely squares them in the bubble. But when they have some of those other question marks, that's how you don't see them securely in a playoff spot in these power rankings and just outside. If I had to guess, they are going to miss the playoffs on a tiebreaker. And they will make the playoffs on a tiebreaker. Whatever happens to them, they will have sealed their fate with a tiebreaker. Their record will not keep them out on its own, and it will not get them in on its own. And moving up to our first of the playoff cutoff line ranked teams in our NSTL rest of season power rankings, we are going to go with none other than Supersonic General Manager Rusty McDusty Luke Schultz. This team, prior to the season, was probably 8th or 7th and was one of those bubble teams. They have jumped over a few teams with Herbert being something nobody thought he would be. Probably a top 5 QB, and in a Superflex league, that is important. Could not be more important. Gibbs and Brown are continuing their form. We went out, traded draft capital to solidify a Justin Jefferson elite level wide receiver in our ranks so that Marvin Harrison is not that. We have Tyler Warren, an absolute beast of a rookie tight end. And we have Quinshon Judkins now coming into his own and going to be the starting running back moving forward. Our problem is going to be that second QB spot and streaming our options between Rodgers and McCarthy. Now, these aren't the worst QBs we've seen in this league, but it is going to be difficult to know which one to start and which one is going to put up your points week to week. Luckily, this week, JJ's out, and it's very simple. We start Aaron Rodgers. Our only problem and why we're not ranked higher is that last flex spot is being tied down by Shaheed. Insider Castile does not like that. When you have to choose between Shaheed, Diggs, and Mooney, that's not where we want to be for our 6th, we should say, and final skill position. No. What we want is Darnell Mooney to be good. Well, right now, even Drake London's not good. What we want is Diggs to be the number 1 receiver. Right now, Booty and a bunch of other receivers are getting all of the reps here. We want Lockett to be something in Tennessee. Right now, Iomanar, the rookie, has done well. We want Keaton Mitchell to be something. Right now, it's Justice Hill behind Derrick Henry. When that's what we're choosing from, and Shaheed in one of the worst offenses in the league, we're not quite there yet. We don't quite have the value to put us in that top echelon of what we call our super contenders. That's not where we're going to be currently at this moment. And that's okay. That happens. But we are firmly in that bubble and leaning towards the making the playoff side. Insider Castile believes this team will make the playoffs. That is for sure. And that moves us on to our 5th team. Our 5th team in the rankings. A team that has moved down recently due to some injuries and different things that have happened. from their previous third-ranked spot. And it's going to be more of a bubble team, and if they can make it into playoffs, their team will look very, very solid. But can they make it there, and will they have a high seed there? Will they get that bye anymore? That is looking different to move forward. And who I'm talking about is Chase Jam. You'll see it pop up here in our list. Chase Jam, general managed by Brendan Castle. They are going to have that 5th spot somewhat more securely into a playoff berth, but there is still a chance they miss out if things don't go their way or any other future injuries happen. And taking a look at their team, here we go, folks. Part of the reason we're not in that upper echelon right now is the week we just had from Penix. When you have a quarterback in a Superflex league who is able to put up single-digit points on any given week, you might not have as strong a team. We have Jake Browning, and the history with Jamar Chase is not great. Jamar Chase's numbers were not anywhere near what they were with Burrow when Jake Browning's in the game. That's pulling us down our value for these rest of season rankings, because effectively Joe Burrow is not going to be there any longer. He won't be there until maybe the Fantasy Football Championship, if not further on. James Conner and Jordan Mason and Derrick Henry, that is a great running back room. That's how you become a playoff team, is having a running back room like that and having solid flex plays like Deebo Samuel and Zay Flowers. Second quarterback position is able to be streamed through Darnold, Wilson, and even right now, Mac Jones. And when Brock Purdy comes back, he's shown he is an 18 to 25 point scorer on any given week and a great offense to Kyle Shanahan off. We also have players coming out that will come out later in the season. Trey Henderson, Cam Scatterboo, Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Addison. Jalen Waddle just had a strong week. This is the type of team that gets you to the playoffs, but is it enough to be considered a true contender and having that elite top-end potential to score the points needed to secure a fantasy football champion in those weeks, in those playoffs weeks? Chase Jam historically has never won a playoff game in the NSTL. Can this year be the year that's different? Time will tell, but they're going to need a lot of these teams to come out and make these players be integral parts of their offense, and they have to do it consistently. Moving on to our 4th ranked team in the power rankings, that top 4. Here's where we jump into that contending echelon that should be in the championship game, can make the championship game, and it should not be questioned. And we're going to start with none other than they hit the second Bauer, general managed by Thad McIntyre. Thad's team, looking at it, has the best QB room by far, bar none, in the entire league. You have Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. The way those two have been playing to start off the season, Lamar looks like the passing, again, just like last year, is immaculate. Lamar looks great. Pulling up their team here, even besides the quarterbacks, the running back position holds future potential and potential right now. When you have people like Bucky Irving, when you have people like Omarion Hampton, when you have people like this, you have a strong running back room. Even when you don't have backups to speak of for them, that's okay, because you can start them week to week and you will not be nervous. We have Byshell Tootin as well. I mean, the running back room is fine. We have possibly one of the best wide receiver rooms, despite injuries, etc. We have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the entire NSTL. That's coming with Tet McMillan, future talent there, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Garrett Wilson, Terry McLaurin, Xavier Worthy. I mean, it's a great wide receiver room. Quentin Johnston looks like a totally different beast this season. And you have the number 1 tight end, maybe number 2 tight end with the injury for now, depending on how much that impacts him. That's a team just full of number 1s and top 3 assets at any given position. And it's still number 4 in our power rankings. Part of that issue is the lack of depth. When these bye weeks hit, this team is going to struggle. If Hampton's future value, future potential does not hit, this team is going to struggle come playoffs. If Tet McMillan in that Carolina offense continues to struggle, maybe that future potential is not fully reached. Terry McLaurin is losing out to Deebo Samuel at this time. Will that continue for the rest of season? That's undeniable that Deebo Samuel is going to impact his workload regardless. Can he overcome that? There are question marks on this team for a current season standpoint that make it difficult to digest. Are they the true favorite? And I would say, just like the proprietary algorithm tells us here, they're number 4. I would not call them the true favorite to win this season's championship. I think they are poised to compete for championships for years to come. And that leads us to our 3rd place team, a team that was recently sitting around 6th prior to a lot of different injuries in different offenses, and moving into this 3rd week and getting a more solidified picture of the NFL. That is going to be gone in 60 Saquon. general managed by Bryce Castle, the brother of Brendan Castle. This is a team that, again, has a great quarterback room in a Superflex, and that is going to naturally push you up rankings to the point that you are competing for championships, regardless of the team's rest of outlook. With their team pulling it up, what we want to take a look at is we are relying on the Eagles, but not too many of them. Unfortunately, we are relying on Devontae Smith. You could make an argument that maybe we want to get off of one Eagle so we don't have to rely on 3 succeeding at any given time. But when you have them, that means any given week, if Saquon's not going off, it's probably Devonta at that point. It's probably Jalen. And a lot of times, Jalen and Saquon are going off together at the same time, and they are premier assets. Jacobs gives you a floor that cannot be matched. He probably has the best floor in the entire NSTL. This is a guy that does not score less than 10 to 12 points, ever. He will never put up single digits for you. It just doesn't happen. He is a consistent touchdown scorer. He's tied for the most touchdowns in the history of the NSTL. And you have Ladd McConkey, who has tons of future potential and value. How will Higgins look with Jake Browning? Similar to the Jamar Chase outlook. How will he look with Jake Browning as his quarterback? That is going to be a struggle, and that's probably why you sit third in the rankings. If we had Joe Burrow still, we'd probably sit second in these rankings. Our tight end position is a bit weak with Ferguson. Some weeks he'll give you that 7 to 10 points, and some weeks he's going to give you 2 to 3, and that's just going to be rough. Jaylen Warren has looked really good, but again, does he lose his position? Is that offense going to be consistently good? How does their schedule look? And that's how we're not sitting at that team with a ton of elite talent that's going to push you into super contender. It is somebody that we wouldn't be surprised to see in a championship yet again, our former runner-up. Shocking development through a trade where they were able to get Nico Collins. Our second rated team per the algorithm is going to be, it's going to be May. None other than Josh Hamm is their general manager. And folks, this is a team that is being carried by the wide receiver room, and a savvy move to pick up Dak Prescott using their elite tight end depth, a tight end depth that few other teams in the NSTL could match. Because of this, they sit with a team of Drake May, going to be one of the most improved quarterbacks, J.K. Dobbins, who continues to hold the starting position away from R.J. Harvey, Jonathan Taylor, probably the best running back in the NFL over the last 5 years, CeeDee Lamb and Drake London, 2 elite number 1 young talents who are going to see a vast target share this season. Kyle Pitts, who looks revamped entirely under the tutelage of the new offensive coordinator in Penix Jr. at quarterback. Devontae Adams, who has picked up right where he left off, playing with old quarterbacks and scoring a gajillion points on a million targets. And Nico Collins, the number 1 wide receiver in Houston, the only wide receiver in Houston. When you have a team like this is how you build a team that is going to compete for a championship. This is now a team that is a favorite to win the championship. I give this team plus 300 odds to win the championship this season, barring no other injuries and certain offenses figuring their shit out. This is the type of team that it doesn't matter what your depth is. It doesn't matter those bye weeks, because you are going to be set every single other week these players are playing. It just does not matter. This is a team that has so much elite talent and a quarterback room that is going to hold it down. It may not be the best quarterback room. It certainly is not the best quarterback room, even in a Superflex format. But what it is and what it does do is give you a quarterback floor that is going to get you by when you have an elite wide receiver room such as this and an elite running back in your midst. This is a team that cannot even any longer be considered a dark horse. This is a odds-on favorite to win the NSTL Championship 2025. And the only team that sits above them in these power rankings, our final team, it is going to be none other than Neighbors Think I'm Selling Dope. Our defending champions, yet again, despite numerous injuries, appear to be atop our list. Another year being a super favorite to win the championship. What we're going to find out this season is there anybody that can knock them off. And looking at their team, Baker Mayfield continuing his tear that he started last season, looking like the Heisman Trophy winner that he was. Bijan Robinson and Chuba Hubbard are one of the best running back rooms in the entire NSTL. And Malik Neighbors continues to put up elite numbers in a bad offense, even with Russell Wilson as his quarterback. He put up 30 points last week in week 2. He is quarterback proof. He is going to be elite. If Brian Thomas Jr. steps back into his role and can get rid of the drops and he can be successful, this is a team that has no weaknesses. When you have gone out and gotten Laporta, you have Mike Evans in your flex spot and Breece Hall in your flex spot, this is how you are the number 1 team in the rest of season NSTL power ranking. Unquestionably the most talented NSTL roster we have seen so far, top to bottom. The problem, folks, and I'll take you back, the problem is going to sit down here. The problem is going to be Matthew Stafford. Will this be enough in a Superflex league to get you by? He has not looked outstanding in his first 2 weeks. Double-digit points, yes. Almost 20 points against a bad Tennessee team. But 13 points against a Houston team that Baker Mayfield just tore up. Philly is a good defense. Indy has looked like a decent defense. San Francisco is a good defense. Baltimore is a good defense. It's a hard schedule for Stafford, folks. Will this become a downfall for this team? To me, it's the only thing that is keeping them from going back to back. And that's all I got for you this week, folks. Let me know down in the comments what you think. What would your power rankings be? How would you rank all these teams moving forward for the rest of the season, given what we know now, a week into the NSTL 2025 season? Week 3 is coming up. We're going to have our week 2 recap. We are going to have our week 3 preview live stream where we look at the matchups and look at whose starting lineups are what, and maybe throw together a parlay or something of that nature coming up tomorrow. Both of those. Be on the lookout. We're going to have a live video and a live stream all on the same day. It's Thursdays, folks. It's Thirsty Thursdays. We know you're thirsty for content, and we love to give it to you. Other than that, folks, it's just another week of fantasy football. It's another week we're happy to be here, and it's another week of loving life. We're going to come at you tomorrow with the Wheat Thins Week 2 recap, the Week 3 preview live stream. This is Insider Castile signing off. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and until next time, peace.